Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks very much, Ken. We appreciate it, and welcome to the Allegheny Health Network Nightly Sports Call, everyone, where all you have to do is call us at 412-575-2600 or tweet at KDPomp, at Ron Cook PG. We are here to take your calls and your opinions. Pirates won tonight. 4-3 come from behind win against the Cubs. That's 4 in a row now, and they are not going to win the Central Division, the Pirates, but they can affect who does with some of these head-to-head meetings with these teams. And the Pirates got nice performances tonight. Max Moroff continues to play well. Jordan Luplow hit another home run, and the Pirates win 4-3. But the big news prior to that was the fact that they signed both Clint Hurdle and Neil Huntington to 4-year extensions. Ron Cook of the Post-Gazette, 93.7 The Fan is here. And this was met with mixed reaction on Twitter.
Sure. Twitter's a mean place.
Twitter is
a mean place.
We know about being a mean place. However, it does also echo what a lot of fans' displeasure can be. And in this case, it's just the lack of winning and the lack specifically of financial resources. You know, when I saw these two signings, I was wondering, Ron, did the Pirates get in writing, these two guys get in writing assurances from Bob Nutting that he would do more in terms of, you know, financially supporting this team, going out and expanding their payroll or whatever? Because I would have. That would have been a concern of mine.
Well, sure. I mean, I wrote in the PG tomorrow, it's already on the postgazette.com, that I think it's a great move. Makes sense for Nutting and the Pirates to keep these guys. I think they've both done overall excellent work. They're not perfect by any stretch, but who among us is? But I'm a little surprised that they want to continue to work here, because I think they could get better jobs with an owner who was willing to spend more on the product. And I truly believe that those two guys, Huntington and Hurdle, could find a better job. I'm not so sure Nutting could find a better general manager and manager to work for him, just because of the situation. Yeah, I mean, you harp on it all the time, Bob, what they spend. Their payroll's 25th out of 30th, according to Spot Track, and you're probably going to lose McCutchen on top of that in the offseason, or trading him for, you know, hopefully you get something good back. But I think it's a tough spot for those guys to be in. But, you know, they have family decisions to make here, and I know their families are comfortable. I'm sure that factors into all this. I think it's a good day for the Pirates. I just question if it's going to turn out great for Huntington and Hurdle, especially Hurdle, who's 60 years old and may not get a chance to win a World Series.
No, and I like Clint Hurdle a lot. I've said this a lot on the show. I like Neil Huntington a lot, and I think by and large he's done some good stuff. Although I think his drafting beyond the #1 overall picks and the top 5 picks has been lacking, and I think we've seen that over the course of time now, 10 years. So I guess my bigger question is, if you're Bob Nutting, you know, most organizations look at winning as the top priority, overall track record. You're not necessarily getting that here. They haven't won a division since the 1990s still.
Well, I mean, they did win the 3 years in a row, and they took a big step back last year, and I think we blamed that on the owner for not adding on after a 98-win season, and I think they're giving them sort of a mulligan for this season because of Gung, because of Marte, because of the injuries to Polanco, to Cervelli, to Tyone. I think they felt like they had a chance to be a better team this year if they hadn't had those things go against them. So they're going to finish with a losing record again 2 years in a row. I think they look at this year as the fact that there's some excuses.
Let me ask you this, Ron. Does this mean moving forward that they cannot trade Andrew McCutchen in the offseason? They may trade him eventually, but now that they brought these two guys back, do you make that move now? Doesn't it seem to go against what you're saying?
Yeah, but I mean, I'd like to see him add a starting pitcher and a third baseman too, but I just don't have a good feeling that that's going to happen. I mean, they're going to trade McCutchen. They're not going to sign him to a long-term deal. And if you get a good offer for him that you really like in the offseason, I think you have to make the move. If you know, your budget is what it is, hopefully they can figure out a way to keep him, add a pitcher, add a third baseman. I like what some of these young pitchers are doing. I really like Trevor Williams. He's really come on. I think Chad Kuhl has come on, Tyone. I'm still not giving up on Tyler Glass now. They have a chance to be okay next year. They add a third baseman and another pitcher and keep McCutchen.
All right, so what do you think? Call us at 412-575-2600. That's the number. The other issue we want to get into is Le'Veon Bell, who is back with the team. And the question is, how much of a workload do you think he can handle? To me, he looks like he's ready to go, Ron. I don't see any reason not to treat him as if he's been here. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He looks in great physical shape. But do you think the Steelers will kind of, spoon feed him along in the first game, especially since it's Cleveland?
Well, I think that, first of all, you can't go into it with that attitude saying it's just Cleveland. We don't have to play them. We're going to win anyway. You can get beat if you're not careful. We've seen Steeler teams lose to lesser opponents in the past. I don't expect Le'Veon to get 35 carries or touches this week, but I don't think his workload is going to be minimal either. I think they'd like to give James Conner some snaps and give Bell a breather now and then. Everybody from Ben on down has talked about how there's a difference between football shape and being in regular shape. There's no doubt Le'Veon's in great regular shape, but how's he going to react to getting hit for the first time in forever? And is he going to fumble? I mean, there's a lot of things to watch here.
All right, we'll take a break, and we will come back with your calls at 412-575-2600. And we'll also ask the question when it comes to the Pirates about accountability. What does that word really mean? And does it apply here to not just Huntington and Hurdle, but also Bob Nutting? What about being accountable to your team? We'll talk about that when we come back right here on the Allegheny Health Network Nightly Sports Call, Pittsburgh CW.